Somewhere in a village in 17th-century Wales, a man is walking toward a house where someone has just died. He is poor. He hasn't eaten in 2 days. In his hand is a piece of bread and a cup of ale. He will be paid a few pennies to sit beside the corpse, place the bread on the dead man's chest, drink the ale, and eat the bread. When he is done, he will have swallowed every sin the dead man ever committed. The family will thank him. Then they will refuse to look at him for the rest of his life. He is a sin-eater. No one will marry him, sit near him at church, or bury him in holy ground when he dies. It was a real job, listed in parish records. The last confirmed one in Britain was a man named Richard Munslow, who died in 1906 in a village in Shropshire. Now here is the thing I need you to understand before we go any further. The sin-eater was not a mistake. He was not a symptom of how stupid the past was. He was a piece of technology, a human one. He existed because a village needed to move guilt off a dead body and had not yet invented any other way to do it. So they used a person. Every society does this. Every single one. When a civilization needs something done and has no machine for it yet, it does not wait. It takes a human being and turns them into the machine. And 100 years later, someone reads about that human being and cannot believe the job was real. You have one of those jobs right now. You don't know which one yet. So let's find it. Ancient Rome. Every empire invents Google before it invents Google. You are a Roman senator walking to the forum. The crowd surges toward you. And beside your ear, a small man leans in and whispers a name. Marcus. Then another, Julius. Then a third. Livia. Every name of every person about to greet you, delivered into your ear half a second before they arrive. That is his whole job. Remember faces so you never have to. He is called a nomenclator, and he might recognize 10,000 Romans on sight. He was almost always a slave, and almost always frighteningly good, because a senator who forgot a voter's name lost that vote. Cicero kept one. Cato kept one. If you were powerful enough to walk in public, you owned a search engine that stood behind your left shoulder and spoke into your neck. Rome did not have a contacts app, so Rome used a man. Now, a job you would kill your own brother to get. Tudor England, 1540. There is a room deep inside Henry VIII's palace, and the man who works in it is one of the most powerful people in the entire kingdom. His title is Groom of the Stool. His job is the king's bowels. He hands the towels. He inspects what comes out for signs of illness. He wipes. And because he is the only human alive who is with the king in his most undefended moment of the day, he becomes the person the king trusts more than anyone. Kings whisper state secrets to him. Kings ask him what to do. Sons of nobles competed for this. Fathers pulled strings to win it for their boys. He was a health monitor. He was a chief of staff. He was the fitness tracker on the royal wrist. 400 years before wrists had trackers. England could not measure a king's health any other way. So it used a nobleman, and it paid him in power. The next one is the shortest job on this list. 19th century Manchester. 6 a.m. It is raining because it is always raining. A man walks down a wet cobbled street with a long bamboo pole, stops beneath a bedroom window and taps on the glass. Once, twice. A tired face appears. He moves to the next window. 50 more before the factory whistle. He is a knocker-upper, a human alarm clock. Because clocks are expensive and unreliable and the poor barely have them, so an entire profession exists just to wake other people on time. His own alarm is another knocker-upper, hired to wake him first. That's it. That's the whole job. It sounds insane. It employed thousands of people. The last one in Britain was still tapping windows in the 1970s. Now, a job that started as a favor and became a voice. Inside a Havana cigar factory, 300 workers roll tobacco in total silence. On a raised wooden platform in the center of the room, a man sits reading aloud from a book. His voice carries across the whole floor. Today it is the Count of Monte Cristo. Tomorrow, the newspaper, front to back. The day after, a Dickens serial. He is a lector, a factory reader. And here is the beautiful part. The workers elected him. They each give up a slice of their own wage to pay him because he is the reason a room full of people who cannot read has heard every great novel of the century. He was a podcast. He was an audiobook. He was the entire radio, made of one man and a chair. The workers loved a novel he read so much that they named a cigar after it. Monte Cristo. You can still buy it today, named by people who fell in love with a book they could not read because a human being read it to them. And most recently, Close Enough to Touch. 1950s America. A young woman sits in a small NASA office doing math by hand. She is checking the path of a rocket that will carry a man into space. If her math is wrong, he dies. 20 other women sit beside her doing the same. Their job title is not mathematician. Their job title is computer. Because until the mid-1950s, when an engineer said the computer will run the numbers, he meant a person, usually a woman. Katherine Johnson, one of the last human computers, personally checked John Glenn's orbit in 1962. He refused to fly until she had. And here's the part nobody talks about. Not one of these jobs died because the people were bad at them. Not one died because the work stopped mattering. They died because a machine finally got cheap enough to do the same thing. The pocket watch ate the knocker-upper. The radio ate the lector. The electronic computer ate the human one. The phone ate the whisper in the senator's ear. The groom of the stool retired when kings stopped ruling. Every one of these people was a bridge. A human bridge thrown across a gap between two technologies, holding the weight of a whole society until the far side got built. And there is a straight, unbroken line from every one of them to you. Right now, in an office, someone's entire job is forwarding emails between two managers who won't talk to each other. Someone is copying numbers between two systems that could sync in a millisecond, but don't yet. Someone sits in video calls whose only purpose is to schedule more video calls. Someone types the same disclaimer into every message by hand. Someone is a human alarm clock. Someone is a human calculator. Someone is a human filter. And somewhere, in a modern building with good lighting, someone is still a sin eater, absorbing blame so that a leader can walk out clean. In 100 years, someone is going to read about your job. They are not going to believe it was real. But do not hear that as an insult. The nomenclator lived a good life. Rome needed him every single day, and every single day he delivered. The knocker-upper fed 50 families before dawn just by tapping on glass. The lector gave 300 silent workers the entire 19th century. The last human computer put a man on the moon. None of them were the mistake. They were the bridge. So let's go back to where we started. 400 years ago, a starving man ate another man's sins because his society had not yet invented another way to carry guilt. Today, someone spends 8 hours copying data between two spreadsheets because our society has not yet invented another way either. Neither of them was the fool. Neither of them was the failure. They were simply the bridge between two technologies, the living patch on a system too big to run itself yet. Every civilization builds those bridges out of people, and then once the machine is finished, it forgets the ones who stood on them. Somebody has to whisper the name. For now, it's you.